Well, thank you all very much. I'm very happy to be here. My name is Lindsey Duncan, and I'm a naturopathic doctor, and I'm a certified nutritionist. And I've had the privilege of spending the last 28 years accumulating over 40,000 clinical hours teaching people how to change the 60 trillion cells that make up the human body. Today, I am here to talk about the barriers and the borders that do not allow us to get well or to heal. And so a little bit of the information will be controversial, and that's kind of one of the things that I'm known for speaking around the world. I believe that as a practitioner, seeing people come into my clinic, I believe that we're a society, for the most part, that is vertically ill, standing up, walking around with very serious health conditions, not horizontally ill, vertically ill. It's what we in the natural health world call the walking wounded syndrome. And the walking wounded syndrome are people that are walking around with this unbelievable amount of conditions that are now abbreviated: ADD, ADHD, EBV, CFS, and the list goes on and on and on. And over the last 100 years, we have accumulated thousands, not hundreds, but thousands of these different acronyms for these conditions and these diseases. And as a practitioner, it is mind-boggling what I see in a nutrition clinic. Open up our medicine cabinets. What do they have in them? Not mouthwash. They have in them massive amounts of medicine that is treating the symptom and not going to the core of what's happening in our body. I see patients come into my clinic, and I always ask, like a child would ask, why? Why are you sick? And they say, well, I'm just getting older. How old are you? 50. 50? 50 is middle-aged. 50 is middle-aged. 60 is middle-aged. 50 is not old. Oh, I'm just tired, or I'm just stressed, or my doctor told me I was just stressed. We have accepted removal of our colon. We have accepted the removal of our female organs internally, our uterus and ovary at 50. We have accepted in our life the removal of our gallbladder. While we in this country are having our organs cut out and medicated and numbed, what is happening in other cultures that live close to land? They're living 80, 90, they're working till they're 95. They're living vibrant, healthy, clear, focused lives. They've earned their health, and we've earned our health in this country. And with every advancement that we have comes a flip side, comes a negative aspect. True or false? And we have to look deeper at that. And so we have what we call these yuppie diseases now. Nutritionists call them baby boomer diseases. And it's just amazing to me when you look at the amount of medicine. If you look at the amount of medicine that we consumed in the last 12 months, it's $307.4 billion last year of medicine in this country. Global prescription drugs will reach 1 trillion, prescription, not over the counter, prescription drugs will reach $1 trillion in the year 2013, in 18 months from now. 83% of women today diet. Even women that don't need to diet. And 1 in 4 women will experience severe depression in their lifetime. 2/3 of all medical visits are due to extreme stress. 86% of the adult U.S. population experiences chronic fatigue 1 or more times a day. We accept our modern diet. This is a border. This is a barrier. Our modern diet is the standard American diet. You've heard this before. You know what it is. It's SAD. Standard American diet. The interesting thing about our diet is that our diet comes from marketers. Our diet comes from large corporations. Our diet comes from businesses. So if you look at the advertising, just drive down the road, look at the billboard, turn the TV on, turn on the radio, you know where our diet comes from. Our diet doesn't come from nature. It's not our original diet. Our diet, if from a nutritionist standpoint, could not be further from what our original diet is supposed to be or was supposed to be than anything that we could ever imagine. Do you know that since the 1970s to today, hamburgers and sodas are 200% to 500% larger volume. The serving size is 200 to 500% larger, just the serving size. Did you know that the introduction in the 1970s of high fructose corn syrup is in direct correlation with the epidemic that we know as diabetes? It's almost to the month. If you research this, you'll see sugar stopped. They stopped using sugar. They started using high fructose corn syrup. Thank you, Big Soda. And that's when diabetes became epidemic because of its damage to the pancreas. The pancreas shuts down with this chemical. Do you know that per capita, we consume more beef than any other country in the nation, and that our beef consumption since the 1960s has doubled, and it's going to double again between now and the year 2050. So we accept our modern diet. Another barrier, severe barrier, is that we accept our medicine. So your doctor says something, and do you believe it? Yes. The general public believes when the doctor says something, we have to take that as the gospel. And we've learned that. And some people are afraid, some people trust. There's many different reasons why we do this. But there's some statistics that we have to look at when it comes to the medical profession. And I'm not a medical basher, but I want people to understand. I believe there's a place for medicine, but it's oftentimes not preventative. It's oftentimes if you have an accident or a car accident or it's a traumatic experience, but not prevention. So, fact, the medical system in the United States of America is the #1 killer of people in this country. Do you think that's true or false? It is 100% true. Do you know that the total number of medical errors and deaths equals 6 jumbo jets crashing every single day in this country? 6 jumbo jets. 7,000 patients die every single year from bad handwriting. We laugh about doctors having bad handwriting, but this is the cause and effect of that bad handwriting. 7.5 million unnecessary surgical and medical procedures are performed annually in this country, and $2.1 trillion was spent on chronic disease, not headaches, not over the counter, on chronic disease in the United States last year. 2.1 trillion. Is that a very big industry? Is that a big business? Is there a lot riding on that business? Do we accept our environment? Is our environment having any impact on our bodies? Does our environment impact the 60 trillion cells that make up this body? The air that we breathe, the water that we drink, and the food that we eat. Is there any impact at all on our body? Here's one of the problems. We accept that 4.6 million people each year die from causes attributed to air pollution, chemicals in the air. We accept the fact that childhood asthma since the 1980s has increased by 40%, and we accept the fact that over 3 million Americans have been exposed since 2005 to today for drinking, not bathing in, but drinking water that had illegal levels of contaminants like arsenic and radioactive chemicals. I do seminars around the world on toxins. There are books written on toxic homes. There are books written on toxic offices. There are books written on toxic everything, and that is affecting our body. The barrier, the border, is that we have accepted that. So, how bad is today's food? The food chain is devoid of nutrients. The food chain is loaded with chemicals. It's enzymatically devoid. The food chain has herbicides, pesticides, fungicides, larvicides. 50 billion pounds of these chemicals are dumped on our food every 12 months. Our diet and our food chain is not what it was 100 years ago. It's the opposite. You can only grow that broccoli or that cauliflower in that 1 square foot of soil before all of a sudden the nutrients are gone. I'd like to read a statistic to you. This was printed in the United States Congress in 1934. And in 1934, this is what it says. 1936. It's United States Senate Document 264. The issues of depleted soil-borne micronutrient trace minerals, and concluded that the national crisis was looming in the near future with the outcome of dramatic increase in mineral deficiency diseases. Quote, countless human ills stem from the fact that impoverished soil of America no longer provides plant foods with the mineral elements essential to human nourishment and health. It goes on to say, mineral deficient soils produce mineral deficient plants that produce mineral deficient food, that produce mineral deficient people that have mineral deficient diseases. What's a mineral deficient diseases? Osteoporosis and osteopenia. Because the calcium's being leached and pulled out of the body, or there's not enough calcium. And that's one example. Statistic number 2, trace minerals in our fruits and vegetables declined 76% from 1940 to 1991, and 12 different vegetables were analyzed, and the nutrient contents were between 21 and 30% lower than where they should have been. So what's the solution? My time is running out. I'll tell you my story. I almost died when I was born. My mother almost died, and in 1962, I got pumped full of antibiotics for the first 12 months of my life. It devastated my body, and after 18 years of pain, what's the innovation here? Pain. That's my innovator. Pain is an incredible innovator, and that's what caused me to innovate a change in my life. And I experienced pain and operations and medications that you could not imagine. And for the first 18 years of my life, I couldn't figure out what's wrong with me. Everybody else has a normal life, and I'm trying to figure out how to get well. And then I found nature. And then I found right living. Then I found intelligent living, intelligent, holistic living. And it completely changed my life and allowed me to help millions of people over the last 28 years. So there's 4 easy steps I'll cover very quick. Number 1, learn every single thing you can about your body. Learn your genetics, learn what your grandmother had, learn what your mother had, learn the weak organs, learn the strong organs, learn that we die from our weakest organ, learn where we are strong and weak, learn where we are genetically weak, learn what we inherited. Then learn about your organs. Learn about the thyroid gland. I do seminars and I ask people, could you tell me where your adrenal glands are? And maybe 5% of the people in the audience could tell me where their adrenal glands are, but they can't tell me where they can tell me where the carburetor is in their car. So we know where our carburetor is, right? But we don't know where our adrenal glands are. We don't know where our duodenum is, or our jejunum, or our ileum, or our pancreas. We have to learn about this body. We've got one. We can't trade it in. It's not a car. And we have to learn everything about this body, because then we can tone it and then we can make it run better. Once we learn about our body, we have to move to diet. We are not what we eat. We're not what we eat. That's not accurate. We are what we choose to eat, and we are what we digest, absorb, and assimilate. And if we're not careful, we become what we do not eliminate. We become what we do not eliminate. That's the truth. We're not, you are what you eat. It's much more in depth than that. And then we have to learn therapeutic nutrition. We've got 60 trillion cells in this body, and they're starving. They're begging for nutrients. I've run thousands of blood tests. I've never seen a person that had the right amount of nutrients in their body. We're eating an empty harvest. No, we're eating the fast food, dead food, devitalized food, and then we're eating the empty harvest, and we're expecting that to nourish this body? There's no way. Learn how to find food that puts the nutrients in the body that's crazy high. That's crazy. We only need 7 different classes of nutrients. Find out what those 7 are. And then follow holistic living. Yoga, sweating, inversion posture. Get the blood to the head. Stand on your head or hang over the bed. Cleanse the body, purify the body, strengthen the body, eat right, fast every now and then, remove the dead skin. Learn the holistic way of living. And don't make it a chore. Make it incredible. Make it part of your life. Make it a blissful, joyful experience. Rome wasn't built in a day. Rome wasn't destroyed in a day. If you try to do all this overnight, you'll fail. One small change. Do it slowly. Do it intelligently. You can't undo 30, 40, 50 years in 30, 40, 50 days. I've seen it happen before. Healing is long-term change done slowly, methodically, and strategically. And it's based on a very, very deep understanding of the logic behind why we heal, why we want to heal, why we must heal our bodies. None of us gets out of this one alive, but the point is the last half of your life. How do you want that last half to go? Chasing symptoms, chasing pain, or vibrant, alive, full of energy, full of clarity, full of enthusiasm? I leave you with a quote. The doctor of the future will give no medicine, but will interest her or his patients in the care of the human frame, in the proper diet, and in the cause and prevention of disease. Thomas Edison. Thank you all very much.